because, hello. Sorry.
I forgot to do
no,
that.
You're good. Yeah. You're good. So yeah, we're kind of want to keep this as a round table. A lot of us have sat through briefs. I work in an Army product office right now. It's my no fun day job. And this is obviously Todd and this is our baby and pet project that we're trying to kind of utilize and get more into the outdoor industry ourselves, just because we love it and we love being able to give back to you guys. So, like I said, we sit through a lot of briefs. We know how boring they can get. So we want everybody engaged and be able to, voice some of their experiences, ask us questions, ask some of the people that have been there and done that some questions, and really get something good out of this. So Zach, I'm going to let you take it away and kind of talk about your experiences in the military and how they've shaped you as a guide and got you to where you are, and just a little bit about why you love it.
Perfect. So like I said, I spent 10 years in the Army. I've been guiding, taking people hunting. I shouldn't say guiding. So I've been taking people hunting since I was 17. I'm 31 now. And after I got home from Afghanistan, I was like, man, I can either use my GI Bill to go to college and be a game warden and never get to hunt. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Or I could use my GI Bill and go to a guide school and I get to hunt every day and do what I love to do every day. So that's what I did. I went to Colorado Outdoor Adventure Guide School in Grand Junction, Colorado. And they kind of helped a little bit with job placement and stuff like that. But I wanted to work my way around the world with every animal species. And I basically have. The only thing I haven't guided is bighorn sheep, mountain goats, and grizzly bears. Like everything else in the U.S., I've watched people kill it from 10 to 50, 200 yards. I mean, it's awesome. And I get to do it on my own schedule, basically. But my own schedule is, so from April to the end of June. April's turkey, then it goes into spring bear. That ends mid-June, June 15th. And then starts all over again August 15th with archery antelope, archery deer in western states like out here, all the way into December. And then we have January, February, March off. But it was the transition was super awesome because the guide school I went to, there was 20 people in that class with me, and every one of them were military. Like every one of them were just getting out, and we all stay in touch. We've all kind of worked together around the world in different situations with different outfitters. But this thing is so easy, and more people need to learn about it, because guys that are coming home that are like, man, what am I going to do with my life? Like, I was in the infantry. That doesn't transfer into anything good. Like, there's no technical job for infantry guys. Like, you can go be a cop. That's about it. Or special security for somebody. But that's not something that your average guy can just jump into and go figure it out on his own. Guiding is like our calling. If you love the outdoors, then this is what you need to be doing, because it's literally, you wake up and you hunt every day, all day long, and you get paid for it. And you get to take out cool people sometimes, like Austin and Todd. And as soon as you meet, you've never met before in your life. And within a 5-day hunt, you're all best friends at the end of it. Like, I don't like people. I don't like crowds. I don't like any of that stuff. That's why I stay in the mountains and I take people like him and Todd hunting all the time. But I don't know. I wouldn't say it's super, super technical. There is some stuff that you got to get around. Like, you can't have any prior wildlife convictions or anything like that. Most outfitters won't hire you if you do. But you're just getting a contract license to be a guide. And so many people out here are like, hey man, you're in the military, cool, you got a job right now. And they'll try you out for a year or two, and then if you stick, then you stick. But if you don't, they'll refer you to somebody else. And there's more outfitters out here just in the West than probably anywhere else in the US. And I've met thousands and thousands of other guys that were in the military, and they were like, man, I wish I could do that. Well, they can. We just got to freaking help them get there. But I don't know. It's just it's a learning curve, and people think it's too hard, but it's really not. It's super, super easy. and you'll fall right in with people that were in the military too. But
better than that.
yeah,
So
there's no.
Zach, with you coming out of the infantry, were there any special courses or things like that, or certifications that you picked up in your time there that have translated well to being a hunting guide? I know, as someone in the armed forces, you are exposed to a lot of different people, a lot of different cultures, a lot of different backgrounds, experiences, and things like that. I know that can help out, when you're dealing with, basically a new set of people every week who may or may not have the same kind of background that you do. So
Yeah,
anything in general that has translated well in that regard?
also, like our CLS, like our first aid training and stuff in the military, shooting capabilities too help us a lot, because you get these guys that come hunt and they've got $10,000-$15,000 rifles, but they don't know what to do with them. They're just like, I can shoot that target at 500 yards, and then you set them up on a 500-yard target and they can't shoot it. So then you basically are becoming a teacher at the same time as a guide, and you're showing these guys like, hey, look at the wind, let's use a Kestrel, check your wind, and it'll give you your clicks. Like, you just put your dope in the scope and pull the trigger, man.
Lost Zach.
Yeah, still.
Can you still hear?
We got you.
But just like the military trains you for so many different scenarios. Like I was talking about the CLS thing that comes over. I had a guy 2 years ago. He was 78 years old, and I took him elk hunting. Well, you're not supposed to be able to get hypoxia under, I think it's like 8,000 feet. Well, I instantly noticed just by how my hunter was walking that something was wrong. And I
Looks
turned
like
around.
Zach might be having some technical difficulties. When he finally gets some signal again, we'll, hey, Zach, you're gonna have to back up a minute.
I got him.
You basically froze.
Trevor, do you have him?
Yeah, I got him just fine. It might be a you issue, buddy.
No, that's fine. That wouldn't be the first time.
But so my hunter, he had his daughter, and I turned around and I asked him, I said, hey man, are you okay? And he didn't even know who I was. He didn't know what he was doing in Montana. Like, he didn't even know where he was. And we were only at 7,800 feet. And I, like, instantly, it just kicks in. It's second nature. You grab that guy and you take him to medical aid, like, right then and there, because you can die from hypoxia. Like, that stuff is not a joke. Firearms safety, that's a huge thing that comes over, that your average guy, when they get excited shooting at turkeys, like, if you guys have a TikTok, look up 406 Hunting Guide and just look at all the crap that goes on in this industry. Like, it's so fun, but at the same time, you're still in it mentally, as I'm watching that barrel as he's freaking out watching the turkeys run away. Like, there's a lot of stuff that transitions over just from the military to here. Like, your mindset never changes, obviously. Your physical fitness is definitely going to go higher than it was in the Army, or the Marines or whatever, out here in the West, because you're climbing mountains every day from dark in the morning, and you're getting back at midnight every night, and you're hunting all day, 18-hour days. I mean, it's fun. It sounds like it wouldn't be fun, but it is a blast. Like, but other than that, I don't really know. Coming from the infantry, I wouldn't say. Just a lot of safety, medical stuff like that transitions over. And I mean, awareness, like, the awareness that we have is a lot different from your average person. And outfitters notice that, like, and they will make you shine. But that's about all I got for that part.
Good deal.
Remember when we rode into camp, buddy? We saw you, and Austin and I looked at each other. We're like, we want him. That's our guy. That's our guy. There's a no BS look. You came out with your shades, your gear, and we just knew. You just reeked of it. So,
yeah, I love it. I'm going to do this until I can't walk anymore, pretty much. And then I'll just hire a helicopter to drop me off.
Good deal.
Good.
We appreciate it. Well, Larry, would you like to take away and kind of talk a little bit about the curriculum and the guide schools offer, and what they can kind of expect, transitioning out and then coming to your school?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So our school is a little different than other schools. We have a pretty big curriculum. I've been teaching in schools for about 30 years now, and down in Wyoming and Idaho and up here in Montana. And they're messing with the, with the phone. So the basics are really important. So if you're going to hunt with an outfitter that uses horses, you got to be pretty good at horsemanship. And that's where these guys are now. It's just day 2 for us. So horsemanship is critical. And what we try to do is to actually have them learn more than just basic horsemanship, that they have learn a plan where they can actually work with horses and train horses. So as outfitters get new horses in, they can be there with the knowledge that it takes to work them in a round corral or groundwork and then in the saddle. So that's pretty much what happens, vet care, all the kind of stuff that you need to know when you're in the backcountry with horses. And then our week 2 is packing, and packing is pretty critical because we place people all over the country. So a lot of schools are regional packers, meaning that if you're in a place where you're using Decker style packing, that's what they teach. But we like to teach it all, Subbuck, Decker, because we don't know where we're placing. We put people in Alaska, Idaho, and all over the place. We actually had a veteran come in 2 years ago, and he went through the school and he worked for an outfitter in Idaho. And the very next year, he had his own guide business going on. Still has going today. So we do all kinds of different. They'll learn 10 to 15 different hitches, which these guys will be doing next week, and then obviously how to pack and how to camp with animals in the backcountry. That's critical too, because the Forest Service has rules along with all of the game and fish rules that they need to know and all that kind of stuff. We also, so we break the camp down into different sections. So they learn how to set up a low impact section in each one of those camps in that particular part of it. They get a wilderness medicine certification, which is one of the best in the country. It's an organization that was set up by the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons and the American Academy of Emergency Physicians. So you were talking about altitude sicknesses. When we used to teach in Wyoming, the city of Pinedale is at 7,000 feet. The ranch we taught on was 9,000 feet, and they hunted at 11,000 feet. So you start to see things like high altitude pulmonary edema, high altitude cerebral edema, those kinds of things. And so they need to know what those signs are. And we've had some interesting cases where those signs and symptoms showed up, and the only cure for that is descent. So we have to take them down even at midnight or whatever. So usually they come early and acclimatize to help with that. So, but they need to really be good at wilderness medicine, all kinds of things. And we're in grizzly country here. So we have a grizzly bear encounter course included in our class. We just had a grizzly bear kill all of our chickens last fall, tore our chicken coop apart and everything. And these guys got to see the prints that it still left on the window. So we got grizzlies all over the place, as well as black bears. So they get a specific grizzly bear encounter course just for guides, what to do in elk country or when you're hunting, and what do you do if you get an elk down or some big game down and you're in grizzly country. Outfitters should have a plan for how to deal with that, because about every year a guide can get mauled by a grizzly, just field dressing the animal, not being prepared. So we do all that. Then in the weeks after that, we go into firearms, we go into hunting techniques. 10% of the hunters get 90% of the game. And so if you know how to hunt and you know different hunting techniques, when to use them, how to combine them, how to use them, and that's one of the things we teach here. So we've actually got exercises that they use to get better at still hunting and those kinds of things. In my earlier life as an exercise physiologist, we trained athletes all the time, and there's specific exercises for specific athletes. It's the same way with hunting. So if you want to get on on animal quick with a rifle, you need to kind of practice doing that. And we have exercises set up, and they'll be doing that later to do those kinds of things. But we get into guide guns in particular, handguns, rifles, and shotguns, and then we get into reloading for a grizzly bear, what to do. We even we make all our own bullets. We reload all of our own shells and everything here. We get into bow hunting, so these guys will be making their own arrows and bow strings and all that kind of stuff. They'll be using recurves and long bows as well as compound bows, and they'll be shooting. I shouldn't let them know already, but they'll be shooting aerial targets and bow fishing and all kinds of stuff that will help them when they take bow hunters out into the field. We'll be doing, we got wilderness survival is a big part of this, and navigation to be responsible for your clients when you're in the backcountry. If something happens, you got to spend an unexpected night out. For guides, that's just something that no big deal. We're just going to they might spend the night out anyway, just to be closer to the game. But for somebody that hasn't been out in this country and might be to them a life-threatening situation. So the guide needs to be able to handle all that stuff. Psychology. We go through a lot of psychology clients, lots of different clients and different attitudes. These guys are going to get clients that come out that probably hunted more than they have because they're so young. But then they'll get clients that have never hunted before, especially on horses and stuff. So we try to get them adapted to all those different kinds of things. And so they'll be tying flies for fly fishing in our fly fishing class, and they'll be making all kinds of different things that they can use when they go into the backcountry. It ends up the last 3 days of the trip of our guide school, we take a big pack trip up on the Canadian border. So they'll be standing on a spot where you can look into Montana, Canada, and Idaho, all from one spot right there. It's about a 6-7 hour pack trip in. They'll be packing in, they'll be setting up camps, they'll be practicing hunting techniques and moving camp and practicing fly fishing and all those kinds of things. So we try to make as well-rounded curriculum as we possibly can to reach every situation they may have. We actually had a hunter a few years ago that was 19 years old, and I'm a Vietnam veteran, and he had a client that just got back from Afghanistan, and his father wanted to take him on a trip. It's kind of a celebration. And they went up in the Bob Marshall Wilderness, and father had a heart attack and died. And so the veteran was there with this 19-year-old kid. That was kind of a first time out, kind of a rough breaking into the field, but he did an excellent job of it. He handled everything well. He helped everybody out, and so you never know what's going to happen. So it's kind of fun to hear back from students. We had a student just not too long ago that just got a job with an outfitter, and they started him off as a wrangler, so he wasn't a guide yet. And they had a client had a horse have a heart attack, and it rolled over on the client that was on top of him, and they weren't sure what to do. So they called him, and they sent him up, and he not only put him on the backboard and did all the right things, he called in Lifeline and helped him land the helicopter. And once he did that, he was promoted to a guide the very next day. So lots of neat stories. I love hearing back from students and some of the things that they do, and hear the stories that they've had. And that's kind of why we do this. And I probably should have been retired 5 years ago, but we keep doing it just because we love the students. We love the field that they do. We love to hear back from them, and our success is basically their success. So, we could retire. The money's not that big of a deal to us. We just want to hear back from them and see where they're at. And we get pictures and stuff all the time, leading pack strings in Idaho or down in Arizona or wherever they might be. And that's what makes it all fun for us. So we still on?
Yes,
Sure.
sir.
Yeah, no, we appreciate that. So for all of our guys who are looking at coming off of active duty and really taking an eyeball at giving this whole career an eyeball and looking at it very seriously, what can they expect as far as the duration and length of a guide school, and what are the prospects for your guys look like once they finish?
So what the length of the school is 4 weeks, and that's pretty standard with all guide schools. And the first day, what we do is the whole first half of the day is teaching them how to look for a job, networking, and how to prepare resumes, and how to get ready for a job, what to look like when you go to the interview, how to have an interview. And then we want them to be as totally prepared to network with people, with all the different connections that we're going to give them. The bottom line at any guide school is that it's up to the student to actually get the job. They're the one that's going to go to the interview. They're the one that's going to fill out the paperwork and all that kind of stuff. But we supply them with leads, and we have lots of them. I actually have several outfitters every year that call me and say, have you got any people yet? Last year was anybody could have worked last year. They were really hurting for guides all over last year. This year seems to be a little better. More guides are out there now, but So we prepare them the best that we can, and we support them. Usually what happens is I'll get a call from one of the guides that they apply to, and they'll ask me about the veteran. You know, is he hardworking? What's his knowledge like, and so on. So they usually do that as a follow-up. But there's pretty good opportunities out there, and there's different levels of outfitters too. So there's smaller outfitters that only work through hunting season, through August through December, and there's the middle range that usually start in April, May, and they go through all summer long. They're doing fishing trips in the backcountry, fly fishing trips and stuff till hunting season. They go through there. And then there's the big guys, and they have a winter business going on, so they go year round, and maybe they got a snowmobile business going on in the winter or something like that. And those are the jobs that everybody wants. So what I try to teach our students to do is to have a plan, not to just go out and spend 10 years having fun being a guide, because it is a lot of fun, and you can get caught up in that, saying this is my great life, you know. But when you get 50, it's not so easy to do anymore. So what we want them to do is have a 5-year plan. Do you want to be an outfitter? Is that your goal? Where are you going to be in 5 years? Where are you going to be in 10 years? And so what we try to do is really help them make a career out of it. And some people, a nice option is a dual career. So what some guys will do, we have several who will do this. They'll go become a guide, go through a guide school, become a guide. And then after that, they'll go to a taxidermy school or a horseshoeing school or something like that. Taxidermy fits in nicely. You got building clients, so they can do taxidermy work through the winter. Trapping season starts through the winter as well. So there's lots of options for people that work for outfitters that aren't full-time year-round jobs. So
being a veteran yourself, what is your experience been, you know, catering to a lot of veteran students? You know, what do they tend to bring to the table? What sets them apart, and, you know, will kind of is advantageous for them as they come into your curriculum?
Veterans always do better than people that are coming from high school and college. They always do better in their jobs. They got more life experience. They got more experience with firearms and all that kind of stuff. They're more serious about the jobs. And in fact, whenever I recommend somebody to an outfitter, I always make that a point that these are veterans. These guys are more mature. They're more dedicated. They're more serious. And they always do better in the field and getting a job like that. So that's a big advantage. In fact, for me teaching, a lot of the times it's easier to teach a veteran because they're more mature. They've gone through some life experiences, and they better recognize what's going on in the world, and they just make better guides.
Outstanding. Well, I'd love to hear from some of your current students and hear about kind of what made them make the decision to you go into full-time guiding, and what led them to where they are now.
Well, I'm Noah. I was in the Marine Corps for 5 years, and my dream as a kid was to be a Marine and to be a hunting guide. So it was only appropriate after I got done serving my time in the Marine Corps to come and check out Bridger Institute and try my time as being a hunting guide or a wrangler, and work my way up to be a hunting guide, I should say. So
It's a good dream to have.
yeah.
Next.
Ray, Marine Corps 4 years, and what kind of got me here is I grew up in the city. I grew up in Chicago, and growing up, I was real into like country music, and I always begged my dad to go fishing and hunt. Never took me hunting, but he took me fishing. So then after I got out of the Marine Corps, I was like thinking about how I lived the past couple of years on someone else's schedule and what someone else needed me to do. And I wanted to take some time and go out and get all the skills that I wanted growing up. You know, this being a good way to start, one of them.
Speak loud.
Hey, I'm Austin. I did 10 years in the Army. I was in 11 Bravo. I finished up in the 75th Ranger Regiment, 375, and I needed a job that was similar to that. So I'm up here. I luckily, through a friend, found out this is a realistic possibility, and I got shown this course, and luckily I chose this course. As we all saw once we got here, there's a lot of other options out there, but the level of the quality of instruction here is just way above like conventional Army schools even. It's just at another level of quality of instruction, not to brown nose or anything like that, but it's really the place to be. The level of medical training is what I really notice. Taking a woofer course, the civilian version, wilderness first responder, he's covering all that same stuff just in a condensed form. And it's really important on the medical side, in my opinion, from the military experience as veterans see. It's just such a realistic possibility in the backcountry setting to have situations like that, as you guys already spoke of. So that was the biggest thing for me. Coming into this field, I found it was a realistic possibility, and then being here and seeing the quality of instruction. For anybody listening to this, it's definitely worth looking into a school like this to give yourself the upper hand above other competition.
My name is Donnie Atkins. I was in the Coast Guard 4 years. Got out around 2019. Wanted to go to college, be a fisheries biologist. A couple months later, COVID happened. College didn't really seem like a good option. Everything went online. I wasn't gonna deal with that, so I left and tried to find other jobs that would suit my fancy, and just wasn't happy. Was not happy with the normal day to day. And I started to think, well, go make some worth out of your skills and go do a job that has intensity and stakes, and go put that to the test. So made the decision. I contact Larry, and it's been a grand slam ever since. We've only been in here 2 days, and it's just amazing. Future is looking good.
William Parslow, United States Air Force. I want to be a Texas game warden. They have an application coming up in September, so I wanted to come out and get the skills to be able to check the hunters and the guides that are going to be going out, that are going to be, following the regulations and stuff like that. I had considered being a guide, but grew up wanting to be a game warden. And maybe in the future I'll be a guide if I get into it and don't like the law enforcement aspect of it as much. But we'll see how everything plays out. But with this school being up in Montana, be a little bit different aspect down in Texas. But one thing I will say, as far as getting up into Bridger Institute through the VA using the GI Bill, it's pretty streamlined process online. You pretty much just go into va.gov. You can look through the VA comparison tool, and the application process is pretty simple. If you have any questions, you can call the VA hotline. There's a number right there, and it's pretty simple. And then you just got to call Larry and make sure that everything's good to go on his end. And yeah, it's simple. It's not hard to do.
I'm going to jump in here real quick. I didn't catch the name on the last guy, Air Force vet in the black cowboy hat, but I actually have an event with a couple veterans starting June 6th through the 9th. And our kind of, at all these events, we like to bring in a biologist, something like that, to kind of, so it's not a once in a lifetime experience of we're fishing for redfish. It's more of like something they can go do that next weekend, kind of a skill set thing. So we like to bring in a local, our guy for that. He's not a veteran, but he is a captain. I don't know if it's captain, lieutenant, I don't know. Sounds high up in Texas game wardens. I just put my info in the chat. Shoot me an email and I'll make sure I link you two up, just as a thank you for coming on and stuff. And who knows, maybe it helps you, maybe it doesn't, but it can't hurt. So
yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Good deal. That yeah, if nothing else, we got something very positive out of this. So glad to hear it. But that actually covered a lot of what I wanted to talk to you next. From, between Larry and I know Todd has actually worked with some other guide schools that were interested in doing VA stuff. Somehow that's not really our niche, but we've ended up doing a little work with some other guide schools and them getting them squared away to accept the GI Bill. But that's extremely straightforward. Todd, Larry, is there anything that you guys want to talk about from that perspective, either accepting or getting accredited or using your GI Bill from your side of the fence?
I'm not sure if Larry, you got any other points you wanted to share? I mean, I go back to, right, Austin, I go back to that thought, like, shoot, I wish this would have been in my guidance counselor's book of jobs and things to do when I was coming out of high school. You know, I kind of forced college and bounced around a little bit and kind of found my niche now, but you know, the love of hunting and fishing and being outside. And I mean, I didn't realize there was a career path you could essentially go to school, and it's what you make of it, how hard you want to bust your hump to make it happen. And you can do well with it, be paid very well, and be out in God's country every single day. So, but we're having fun with it now and doing this. I'm not sure, Larry, if you got any other points or thoughts on the GI Bill component of it. I know you said they're reworking a few things, and your site is pretty detailed, it appears, and you have it squared away.
Yeah, they changed the system a little bit this year, and so it actually is easier than it was when COVID was going on. So, yeah, if a veteran goes through the process to get qualified for his GI benefits, then they just got to go online. Once they've got, you know, that's all secure, then they just go online on anybody's website, on our website, and they have the option of choosing a veteran, and then they just click on we teach several different courses, not just guide schools, and they click on what they want. It comes to me, and then I just follow through with my part and turn everything in. And it used to be it took a little bit of time to get approved, but this year it just takes a couple of days. So that part I think has improved. So it's not like they said, it's not that hard. If you want to do it, I would suggest though, one of the things is that if you're a veteran and this is what you want to do, then select it and stick with it. We do have every year we have people that sign up as veterans to come to the school, and then just before the school starts, they say they can't make it. They got to do something else or whatever, and that kind of puts us in a bind because we held that spot out for them. And we only like to take 10 students because we want all of our students to have lots of hands-on in everything that we do. And so I've taught for other guide schools for years. I started several guide school programs and like Swan Mountains and some other ones. And so I don't like to have a lot of students where people are just kind of sitting around. We want to have lots of hands-on and stuff. And if this is what you want to do and you've got the educational benefits, what an opportunity. What an opportunity. You don't have to come up with money for it. You just come to it. And I think it teaches a lot of skills for life too. I mean, just the way things are in the world right now, the skills that you learn here, even if you didn't become a guide, are going to be very helpful for you if things get worse around the world and in the country. They'll be able to survive. They'll be able to get food. They'll be able to do the things that is going to take that a lot of people in this country don't have a clue about anymore.
Outstanding. Well, we appreciate that, Larry. So that kind of leads us to our section of this, and that is, kind of an introduction as to who Guidesource Outdoors is. We are kind of a newer player in the game, so to speak, and we're going to talk about a little bit about us, then navigating the outdoor industry, and then just a general overview of requirements and licensing, which has already been talked about pretty in depth. So we'll just touch on a couple smaller points that we might have on that. But Todd, do you want to lead the way and tell them a little bit about who we are, what we do, and I can kind of tell them a little bit how we got here.
Sure. So our mission is to pair up outfitters that are in need of guides, reputable guides, hardworking individuals, and pairing them up with prospective guides, packers, folks who are prepared to be wranglers, folks who are hustlers, want to make their way. So there's a tremendous need, as Larry was saying. Every year we've come to learn this. There's spots all over the place. It's a matter of whether that outfitter is someone you want to work for, is someone who's reputable, and then there's also individuals who are aiming to be guides, packers, what have you. And just like every career path, there's good ones and there's not so good ones. So we had an outstanding experience last year with Zach. Initially, I was thinking this would probably be a one and done for me. And what happened to us, I mean, we didn't want to allow that to happen. We didn't want that to be a one and done. And I figured, shoot, if we could help outfitters who are in need and stretch out and expand that reach to identify talent from all across this country versus just in their immediate area, we want to do that. So it aids those outfitters, it aids the individuals who are out there hunting for an opportunity, looking around, not sure where to go, not sure if going with XYZ outfitter is a good move for them. So our goal is to vet both parties, make sure that they fit culture wise, work ethic, types of animals, seasons, you name it, so that when we place them, it optimizes the odds of retention on both sides, whether retention of the guide or retention by the guide of the outfitter that they're working for. So we do our part to vet and, again, connect those dots from both sides. So we flipped this switch back in January. We're meeting some really great individuals and helping them identify some opportunities that match with what their goals are, what their aspirations are. So I'll pause there.
Sounds good. So yeah, in essence, very specialized recruiting service for guides, packers, and outfitters, and just trying to make the outdoor industry a better place for everybody involved and helping people get those opportunities. So, in essence, that's kind of who we are, what we do. I'll say that it has been quite an adventure. So as far as, navigating and after getting the company stood up and kind of cutting our teeth a little bit, we have had some successful placements. We've, getting guides hooked up with some good outfitters, and we've also had some more interesting experiences. I'll say that. Damn, somebody just shot a turkey right behind my house. And my dogs are losing their mind.
Shoot them.
Yeah, no kidding. 3 times. This guy apparently sucks. Anyway.
I don't think you shot that turkey. I think you shot at that turkey.
I think he shot at that turkey for sure. Hold on. Anyway. I don't know what the hell no. Anyway, that was unexpected. But yeah, so had some less stellar experiences with some of the people that we've interacted with, but overall the outdoor industry is a pretty wonderful place. A lot of people are looking out for you, looking out for each other, and it doesn't come without some skepticism that we've noticed. Being a new and up and comer in the industry, it definitely helps to have some weight behind you, like Bridger, and having that education or some of the other guide schools out there. Being able to have that kind of that reputation that precedes them, to help you with placement. So, a lot of it is, in essence, going to be persistence as well. We found that anything new and shiny in the outdoor industry tends to get looked at a little harder, especially with you backcountry guys out there out west. We've certainly met our fair share of skeptics, but I think we're proving through, holy shit, that went right over my freaking house. We've proven through just proof of concept that things work. And anyway, didn't feel like getting shot today. That's not really on the agenda.
We need you, buddy. Stay with us.
Yeah, still here. Anyway, so we had that proof of concept that's helped, and being able to kind of help out where we can with you guys, and a lot of this has kind of come to fruition, just on the mission that we have, kind of set up for ourselves. That is, to be able to help out veterans and help out guys as best we can, and provide them an alternative path than to a career, instead of going and sitting behind a desk. Because Todd and I, we both have sat behind a desk for the better parts of our career. And, we know what that's like. We know what that can bring. And we've seen a lot of guys, grind it out in one cubicle for their whole life. I've got a guy that was Vietnam veteran, very, very nice guy, but he just about dropped dead at his desk, a couple weeks ago. And that's not, for us, that's not a life well lived, as far as I'm concerned. So, being able to provide you guys a path and an easier outlet into the outdoor industry is kind of where we're going with that. But yeah, so navigating, it's a lot about persistence. You're going to get a lot of those soft skills through your guide school of choice. A lot of that in your military training has been a great translation as far as, being able to deal with various cultural backgrounds and experiences that you, I'm sure, come across during your time in a green suit or, whatever your suit color was. I don't want to lump everybody into an Army green, but that's just kind of my experience since I work for the Army as my no fun job. But it definitely pays off, and it in our experience pays off very well. As I'm sure you've heard from Larry and some of the other guys on here, having that veteran tag will take you a long way in the industry. As far as that goes, Todd, do you have anything to share as far as kind of the experiences that we've had as newcomers and good advice for these guys as they're starting to move in?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is going to be I'll say patience and persistence at the same time. We've been approached by some outfitters. We make the connection and then things go quiet for a while. My bread and butter is providing a candidate with a customer, and we're looking to get an offer out in a week and close it in a week and a half, and we're done and we're on to the next one. Doesn't work that way. We've come to learn. Even if when we're approached by an outfitter, we might make that connection. It's taken us a couple months to post interview to finally get that yes, whether they're waiting on tag draws, they're not sure how many guides they're going to need. But they're still out there. Some outfitters have approached us and then disappeared. Others have just been quiet, waiting for things to play out to understand and confirm how many guides they need. And then they're back on it and communicating and off we go. So that's been a learning curve. And, I know if you're all hungry and go getters, you may run into that. But I firmly believe that once you lock into a great outfit, I know, Zach, you just landed a sweet spot. You can really do well with it, and your name will get out there and it'd be notorious if you're doing it and doing it right and doing it well. So, we are, to Austin's point, we're the new shiny object out there. We know our names out there. We've heard about it. We've heard the scenario. Folks have heard us. They're not quite sure what to think of us. But now when these outfitters know they can expand their reach a bit and pick up the phone and tell us what they want, what they need. We go do the rest of the work for them, do the vetting, make the connections, set them up, and off you go. And if they have other things they're working on, other parts of their other businesses they have running, to help pay the bills, they can spend time doing that versus worrying about and stressing about how they're going to go find that next guy that they need and whether or not that person's going to be worth a damn. So we're having fun doing this, and we hope that we can connect with all you and keep the communication going.
Saw some waterfowl questions come in up there, but so I think that's a good transition point to kind of start talking about requirements and licensing now that I'm not getting shot at, which was rather unexpected. But this is Alabama where I live, so one never knows. Anyway, so yeah, licensing and requirements for becoming a guide. I think everybody on here can probably provide some very detailed responses on that, especially with Zach and some of the guys up there at guide school. But it kind of varies from state to state, but the big ones are making sure that you don't have any prior wildlife convictions or issues in that regard. And most of them are going to have that first aid and wilderness survival course requirement, as well as having some sort of guide school requirement as well. Some of them are very unique. It's not governed by a singular body. It's governed by state. So you're going to have a little bit different requirements per state. I know, and this is touching on the waterfowl question. The waterfowl community is a little different than maybe the backcountry guys. There's less levied on them than say somebody who's going to hunt in the backcountry. You know, when you're in the swamps of Louisiana or Arkansas, it's a little bit closer to civilization. Your amenities are a little different, and you're not going to be dealing with quite as treacherous of conditions, we hope. So I know that the licensing requirements specifically for Arkansas, I think that you can pretty much go and buy a license if my research is correct on that one. You know, just an out-of-stater can go for $4 to buy a license. You just have to have, you know, kind of a sponsorship from an outfitter, or, you know, at least have an outfitter's blessing or license that you can piggyback off of. And I think that's pretty common across most states is you have to have a outfitter to kind of sponsor that guide license, if I'm not mistaken. You know, I know that some of the more unique ones are, you know, like Utah. I know that they have kind of a special, thank you. I see that in the chat, captain's license. I know Utah, you know, you kind of have to have some sort of evidence of, you know, upright and moral character, and things like that. So, you know, you have to do your research. And that's one of the things that we kind of help out with too, as a company, is making sure we have that extra background and extra knowledge to make sure that you're getting all your ducks in a row before you go and find yourself, you know, in a situation where you think you've got a job and turns out you don't have all the requirements. So, you know, we try to help kind of steer you in the right direction and make sure that, you know, you've checked all the boxes before you go and leave home and head to wherever you're planning on guiding. And that kind of is also plays into our mission as well. You know, if you know, and this guy as well kind of goes back to, you know, the seasonal stuff. You know, some of these medium and smaller outfitters only will do a season or half year, or, you know, maybe you are working for a larger outfitter and you don't want to go, you know, be a snowmobile guide. You want to just stay hunting all year round, you know. So you finish up, you know, elk or even turkey in Montana, and you want to go and guide somewhere else in, let's say, Florida. You want to go guide Osceolas in Florida. You know, we have that reach to where we can actually start poking these guys across the country and help you get linked up, and then you can return back to your fall and winter spot, you know, once that's done. So, you know, that's kind of one of the capabilities we're trying to provide is just give you that extra reach, that extra coordination, I guess, to make sure you're locked in year round and with a reputable outfitter as well.
Yeah. You know, I see that, you know, mention of the captain's license. Excuse me. I mean, I live out here in Maryland, a lot of water and a lot of opportunity with that captain's license, what you can do with that, maybe in the off season. My wife's family, her family members, has a marine towing business and salvage business, always looking for pilots. So just another angle. If you want to get creative and make cash and, you know, a career in multiple seasons.
So I think that's kind of what we bring to the table, is just making sure that you're, you know, we give you options, we give you some guidance that you know, once you're out of the guide school or fresh out of guide school, if you're looking for new places, and you know, we can help extend that reach beyond maybe what you can find on the internet, or you know, beyond what you know, the network around you has. So that's kind of what we're trying to do and trying to help you guys out. And you know, it was interesting getting linked up with Trevor. I think I shot him a direct message on Instagram, and that's kind of how we got this ball rolling. And you know, with us, you know, coming from the military and defense background, as far as our day jobs, you know, we just really wanted to have the opportunity to talk to you guys. And after, you know, meeting with Zach and you know, give them that opportunity, it really opened our eyes being out there and working with him. And you know, we just want to be able to help you guys out along the way. So Todd, is there anything that you wanted to discuss any further before we roll into a Q&A?
I'll just say I am beyond jealous of anybody that has this opportunity and can cut loose and go do this. I mean, I would love to be in your shoes. And if I can't be in your shoes, let me help you find a spot. You know, that's kind of how this all got started. And I get goosebumps talking about this. You know, I get beat down during the day job and not so fun job, right? As we like to say. You know, I make a phone call to Larry, for example. You know, hey, you want to take part in this? Or you talk to Zach. You know, it gets us the juice. So I'll hold off and let some folks ask some questions. I know there's some of them coming in the chat.
Listen, who do you contact? Who do you?
Not sure if we're gonna get cut off at an hour though.
No, we should be all right. Go ahead. Anybody got any questions?
Got a couple.
Popping up in the chat there. Kyle Wheeler says, "Hey Zach, where you at? I'm in Bozeman. Hit me up." And then he puts his number. Cool.
Hey, back
I have
in
a quick
hey, I'll
question.
just use this. Hey, Austin, Todd, do you guys do anything for fly fishing guides, or is it pure outfitter stuff?
Well, we have not. Those usually kind of go in hand in hand. You know, a lot of the outfitters that we deal with also do fly fishing in the spring and you know, in the off season when they're not hunting. So, you know, that has not been something that we've really run into. We haven't had anybody, you know, looking for a fly fishing job yet. Most of the people that have come to us have been looking for spring bear. They've been looking to go and be a packer somewhere, or, you know, fall elk, you know, stuff along those lines. So, we haven't placed anybody as a fly fishing guide, but it's certainly something that we would be willing to, you know, reach out to our contacts and see what we can do to get you linked up. Because we know several outfitters right now that are running fish camps.
Yeah, and I sent that out for general purpose. I'm linked up with Dan Bailey's over in Livingston, Montana, and a few other outfitters over here. So I've got plenty of work. I just didn't know if you did any, especially in that area. And if Montana wise, if you want to know on guide schools for fly fishing that take GI Bill, I can help you all out with that.
Sounds good. Larry, did you guys work on the fly fishing side of things as well?
We do, yes, because a lot of times what the outfitters will do is they'll spend all summer fly fishing the lakes in the backcountry. So that's a big part of the general year.
Yeah, I heard bow fishing, and it immediately appealed to my Alabama redneck. So I got real excited there for a second, but didn't hear the fly fishing. Wanted to check in and see if that's something that y'all offer as well. But that's
Yes,
good.
it is. Yeah.
Got a lot of good resources out there, just from the people in this room or chat, video call.
Yeah, I've got a question here from Anthony. He looks like he's active duty still. He's got a bunch of leave saved up. Is there any way he could do like a week or a 2 week, like do school in pieces? Seems like what he's asking.
The guide.
Yeah, we actually have a mini guide school that we teach that does everything but the horses part of it. So if they want to come to a mini guide school, they would get all of the fly fishing and all of the hunting techniques and trapping techniques and all of that kind of stuff and that's about a 9-day course.
There you go, Anthony. Next question from Hunter Owen over there in North Carolina. Difference between a wrangler and a guide. Wrangler does horse stuff. Guide does people stuff. Also, how difficult is it to hold a full-time job as a guide? So can you just expand on that a little bit, Larry, or anybody?
Hold the full-time. How is it to hold the full-time position as a guide?
Yeah, just get an outlook. Like, do you guide hunting in the fall and winter, fishing in the summer? Do you get a separate job in the summer? Do you just take it off, kind of like a teacher? What are your prospects? Why and why? Kind of explain that decision making.
Yeah, there's all kinds of options to do there. Actually, some people, we've had people get jobs with outfitters and then be pretty good with cameras and making videos and even buying a little drone and doing advertising, going to shows through the winter with the outfitter. So the outfitter is going to be spending most of the winter time getting clients for the summer and the fall. And if you're good with those kind of skills, you can actually, some people hire you on to stay on through the year and help market those kind of things and go to the different shows around the country. And so that's one option.
Gotcha. And then hit the difference between a wrangler and a guide real quick.
Yeah, just like you said, wranglers take care of the horses most of the time. They're going to be feeding them in the backcountry. They'll saddling them, taking care of that. Where the guide is actually going to guide a client in the backcountry. And so big outfitters, they'll have wranglers and they'll have packers and they'll have guides. And the wranglers take care of the horses. The packers pack out the meat. So you need to know how to pack out elk and moose and caribou or whatever it is that you're hunting. And they'll pack all that stuff out and take care of it in field dress it in the backcountry. And the guides just actually do hunting. But most outfitters are going to want you to be able to do all three.
Yep.
Is it anticipated to start as a wrangler and move into guide, or can you go straight to guide? What's your experience?
Yeah, it's just kind of like any other position. Veterans have a better shot at starting as a guide because of the experience and stuff, I think. But a lot of times you need to get your foot in the door. And it's just like if you got hired at Walmart or something, you don't start at the top, you know. But my experience with guys coming out of the guide school, it isn't very long before they're a guide. Usually within the first year, they get there, they show some how good they are with horses and packing and that kind of stuff. And especially the wilderness first aid. So if they have so many skills, more than an average person would have, they move up to guide pretty quickly.
Gotcha. All right. Last question. Paul says he's got about 15 years in with at least 5 years left before he retires from active duty. Is there a point at which a new guide looks less attractive to a company because of their age?
So I can actually field this one. We just placed a guide who, well, we've had two actually. So one of them was in his later 30s and one of them was in his early 30s. So I know that they appreciated having guys that were a little bit more mature, unlike me, who apparently can't watch his mouth whenever bullets are zipping over their house. But they do appreciate having guys that are a little bit more mature, a little bit more experienced in that regard, because they know how to handle people. They know how to handle the clients a little bit better. And, you know, what they may lack in, you know, physical abilities and stamina, they're going to make a great hunt for, they're going to make it a great hunt for people because they're going to have those soft skills that they're looking for to kind of have the camaraderie that you ultimately build on one of these hunts.
All right. So Paul has a follow-up. He'll be 42 when he gets out. So that'll be pretty mature. Kyle Wheeler, I know you're there. I know you've, Mitch, you can't be far from 42. You guys have great guiding kind of careers. So I wouldn't worry about it, Paul, but no, it's a great question. Larry, you got anything to add on the age question?
Nope, I would agree. As long as they physically can handle the job, physically can handle the horses and packing and all that kind of stuff, the maturity aspect is big. It's an important part.
Hey, Trevor, on the, again, fly fishing specific, a lot of outfitters have been much more open to bringing me on early and moving up the roster because I am a little more mature than somebody who's 22 and, for lack of a better term, kind of a kid. So yeah, as long as you can do it, it's going to help you.
Gotcha. That's what I would think as well. All right, last call for questions, and then I'm going to award our kind of attendance prize for the evening.
Yeah, I had a question. What's the best way for guys like us to get in contact with you?
With me personally?
Well, with your business and organization. Yeah. Yeah.
So just Google BHA, and after you get through Boston Housing Authority and beta hydroxychloric acid, I'm like the third link on the Google. But no, I put my contact info in the chat. You can just Google Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. BHA AFI on Instagram. Like, I'm all over the place. We take about 1,700 veterans / active duty out per year. And we're looking to expand that to about 2,300 this year. So we're in 20 states and on 19 active military bases. We have various clubs. So Did I answer the question? Is that all right? Yeah. Yeah, call, text me anytime. I am traveling quite a bit. I think I've done about 16 weeks this year. But if you're talking specifically about Guidesource Outdoors, like, then Austin's your guy for that. We do have state reps all over the place as well. So working on the website, 8 years in the infantry did not teach me how to use a website and design one very well. So I'm a little slow on posting like all the regional contact reps out, but I'll get there. I'll figure it out. Keyboard's got a lot of buttons, you know. But if that's it, then I'll go ahead and award the attendance prize.
Can I add one thing?
Sure.
So another thing that most veterans don't know is that even if you have a service dog, which I know a bunch of guys that do, I personally have one too. He's a Dutch Shepherd and he's huge. Just because you have a service dog doesn't mean that you can't be a guide still. There's certain situations in certain places that you can go work and you can take your service dog with you. Now, with that being said, you're not just going to take your puppy that you put a vest on and says he's a service dog. Like if he can prove that he's got that training, and you can prove to your outfitter, like, hey, look, if you guys want to look it up, you can look me up on Facebook at Zach Heron, but Reaper has been on every turkey hunt this year, and we killed over 30 turkeys together with him and my clients with me. And by the end of it, everybody wants to take him home. So just to throw that out there for guys that do have service dogs, this is still a possibility. Like Austin and Todd got to meet Reaper at elk camp even. I mean, but don't count the guys out. Don't count yourself out if you have a service dog. That's not a reason to count yourself out. That's all I wanted to add.
No, that was great, Zach. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yep.
All right. So how we're doing this this kind of giveaway thing is tonight's giveaway is going to be on Guidesource Outdoors. They have some cool swag packages they're going to ship out to you. But before the meeting, I had Andy text me a number between 1 and 20. And then based on where you guys were on my screen, when I hit this little button, whoever is that number wins. So tonight's number is 14. So let's count. 2. Hold on, let me take my shoes off. I'm at 10. That was a joke. You can laugh if you want to. All right. Number 14 is Paul. So Paul, congratulations. You win some swag from Guidesource Outdoors.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and show your face, Todd, you'll see the super awesome hat with our logo on there. We're going to be sending you a hoodie as well and a koozie. Keeps your beer about 5 degrees cooler than any koozie out there.
That's right.
So,
true. So if Paul, would you just make sure you have Austin's and Todd's or mine emails? Send us an email tomorrow morning with your sizes, and I'll make sure I connect everybody with the addresses and shipping and everything.
Sounds great. And we left our emails in the chat for anybody who wants to talk further. Sans bullets, because that was weird. Yeah, we appreciate everything, especially you, Trevor. This has been great. Appreciate you linking us all up.
No, this is great, Austin. I appreciate you guys coming on, bringing all these resources to bear for the veteran community. Anything else to say for the good of the group? Anybody?
I just want to say, thanks to everyone who's participated today. I mean, this has been a great discussion. We've been super excited for this event for a few months now. So great turnout, a lot of great questions, new connections being made already today, looks like in the chat. So I mean, it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Same thing. I couldn't say it any better. All right, guys. Next week, same bad time, same bad channel. We are going to have two guides just kind of talk about doing the independent contracting things, what problems they've run into, what solutions, and we'll have one focused on fishing, one focused on hunting. So if you'd like to log back in for that, you should have all the info for the Zoom login stuff. And hope to see you next week. Thanks for hopping on.
Thanks, Trevor. Thanks, Larry. Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good one now.